With a little bit of delay because lag from OBS.
Yes, let's see how is the lag, because we did some changes around here.
Wow. I'm seeing a massive video delay on our end, but yeah, so we're trying some things for today's stream. We'll see how they work, but of
First
course...
things first, yeah, we testing this. Mokti! How big is the delay on the screen though? Like from what we're doing here in the image shit.
5 seconds on Twitch, on dashboard, which is normally like 1 second.
Right, so we're doing the sound syncing first, everybody.
Hello. Bam, bam, bam.
So how we looking? What is the chat saying? Mokti ain't saying shit.
Yeah, I don't know what he's saying. He's saying nothing. Hello, chat, by the way. How's it going? As promised, we're back with the detox of WoW.
The talks, the hype or not hype.
Okay, so we need to put like a minus audio delay.
Yeah,
because we cannot delay just the audio. Then you have to delay the audio, remember? That's why we had it. Because if I put a delay, delays most likely the whole thing, I think, no?
That's no problem. Let's make it work for the stream.
Okay, so if I put a delay on the source and I put it like, well, I don't know, minus, it has to be minus or plus?
What is it now?
It's 0.
Put it on minus 400.
900. I have no idea what this does. This is a surprise, everybody. You're seeing technical difficulties resolved.
No, there are no technical difficulties. There are technical adjustments.
They're assumed adjustments. How about now, Mokti?
Right now.
Sup. Let all your dwarfs be earthen.
This ain't earthen.
I know.
I love his English though.
Yeah.
All right, put 500. Let's see how it's looking. People in the chat saying the same thing.
People in the chat are not replying. That's worse. Okay, so it's worse. Okay, so now it should be better. Or just says worse, also bad.
all the good things. All right, how about now? Now. It's perfect.
Oh, really? Well, fuck yeah, let's go then. I wonder how it's gonna be with the video. I hope that's no desync there because there's like different audio tracks.
Oh Jesus!
Now I remember why we had it the other way around.
All right, we'll see. Well, we didn't really have a video feed up until now for this show, so we
never had like a different source of audio that needs to adjust with a different video source.
All right. So. Plan for today is we're not.
Wait a second. Before you go there, let me actually publish the stream on the socials.
Oh,
because YouTube seems to be so far so good. Nothing broke there.
So if the sound is right and good right now, that means, hopefully we won't have any freezes. That's like the remaining thing.
You know, it's a learning process.
we should be good. So. Like I was saying, we're not going to talk about class changes because we're fed up with them. There's too many goddamn class. So this week, I think we had 3 tuning phases and small tunings and reverts to changes and then reverts to the reverts to changes. It was a mess, and I don't think that's interesting to talk about. However, this week we did have the
Prince of Fate.
Yeah, the bug cinematic, a Bug's Life cinematic.
The arachnophobia.
Yeah, so and that was pretty interesting to see, and we kind of like spun a couple of ideas on what could be expected in the War Within expansion, lore-wise, theme-wise, the whole context of everything that is going to come. What? No good?
Odin in chat says, evidence you don't work for Blizzard. Delay fixed in minutes, not months.
Better believe it, man. Our hot fixes are on the spot.
Live.
All right. So
patching needed.
We're live everywhere. YouTube, Twitch, all of that. So we're good to like kick it
off. I've pinged Discord, guys. Everything should be fine. We've pinged everybody. They should know that we are live on all of the platforms.
All right.
There's one my Volpera and Cat Girls in no particular order. You already have them, Patrick. It's called Final Fantasy 14. Get out of here with your Cat Girls, man.
Man, I never see Patrick on no goddamn Kitty or Volpera.
Yeah, he only plays like big,
everything is Thorin.
Which is mega respect, Patrick. You just need to dress him better and you're like Gucci. With them clown transmogs.
Right, okay, so let's kick it off. We'll wrap up episode 10. Can you believe it? This is
my
the
God,
10th
is it
episode.
10?
Yes, sir. We have to exclude the week where I was off, because that would have been 11. But hey, it's the 10th episode.
Fine. 10 is a good number. I like the number.
Yeah, and man, there's a lot to talk about. But first off, we need to talk about the hype about War Within. Is there any hype surrounding the game? And we cannot speak for the big majority of players. We can speak for what we can see in our comments, the reaction to the videos we post, the reactions to what Blizzard is posting, what we see on streams, and what we read on forums, blah, blah, blah. Now, you have to understand, all of that means a very small percentage of the player base, right? So we're kind of making our calls and judgments out of a very small percentage, and what we perceive to be the reality is, again, a very small bubble, all right? So disclaimer at hand. And I have to be honest, I didn't really see any hype up until the cinematic for me, and I didn't really feel it because there was a lot of problems, because like we are so knee deep in all of the things that don't work.
We have different kinds of hype, because we had the London hype, like that kind of stuff.
Well, yeah, that was different. We didn't know what was under the hood back then. But regardless, we always tend to like go into so many. Okay, so this class feels bad and it's not working. Then you go test out the Mythic Plus dungeons and it's all tuning bad. And the general feel, so a quote unquote beta tester or whatever, like we're testing, we're rats.
The thing is with when you're beta testing, and I think this is probably similar for both of us, the hype isn't there yet. It hasn't set in. That's the thing, right? It's probably gonna set in when it launches and we're finally logging it in the actual client, and not just like a fake, not real wannabe client. And then it's gonna like, oh my god, we're here. It's finally here.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it happened with the Dragonflight as well, right? We knew all of the cool stuff.
Well,
but once it launched, it was like, that's when it caught me. It's like, oh my god, finally, yes, this is the game.
Interesting you mentioned Dragonflight, because Dragonflight wasn't really hypey to begin with. Dragonflight was very softly approached because of the cinematic or whatever. When we got the War Within cinematic and announcement, it was a lot that we had Metzen on the stage. Everything was quite epic, and it was not necessarily just War Within, but it was like the whole World Soul Saga thing, right? So fast forward till today, we've been through a bunch of like alpha cycles and beta cycles, and the disaster that was the pre-patch. And of course, a lot of that kind of killed the hype. Like maybe it's something in regards to like, player fatigue or players' age, or where are we at right now in our lives playing this game. Because you kind of miss the excitement you had when you were waiting for Legion, for example. I'm not even going to mention Warlords of Draenor. The hype around that shit was through the chains, and the disappointment was
the bigger the hype, the bigger the disappointment. I think it's true. I think what people need, and that's kind of unfortunately not what we got, is what you've also been mentioning, that big hype moment cinematic trailer that's gonna get us back like, this is it. And that's one way to create hype, because if you really think about it, and we said this before, Dragonflight was a very good expansion, technically speaking. Yeah. And The War Within is an even better expansion, considering what it's trying to approach, what it's going to deliver. We don't know, like, practically, like, how it will feel to go through the story, through the dungeons, through the raid. We'll figure it out eventually, for sure. But I think, like, people are probably jaded, and they need a big jolt to get that high back, because they don't trust anymore.
Did we get that jolt? With the latest, because you cannot call this a cinematic. It's it's one of those what do we call that? Harbingers of something like that.
I think they started with WoD with Lords of War. I think the series was called.
I think that was it was in Mist of Pandaria actually.
We had those. I don't know.
Yeah, it was like with the. Don't you remember the Thunder King poem and
I didn't play WoD.
Well, so whatever. It started back then, but it's not to bash on the style. I really love this style of putting into context stuff, but it's not a cinematic as we had like the actual full cinematic for the War Within 2 weeks ago, I believe, like the full thing. It's not
true. It's not a fully rendered one, and it's not even similar to what we've had in BFA with Saurfang. I think that those played a good part into keeping people engaged with the story.
I mean, BFA cinematic alone kicked it off really.
Yeah, nice. That's it. But that's what I mean. Like that cinematic in itself, with Sylvanas yelling for the Horde and then Anduin resurrecting the entirety of the Alliance army. those were like epic
Remember,
moments.
that was our first React video. Remember that? We were at my place and we recorded
Yeah.
it.
Oh my God, we jumped all over. Like when I saw it, like finally we're getting PvP back.
And
And we're PvP boys. Alliance versus Sword.
We didn't even have a camera on. We just recorded the voiceover. It was ridiculous. It was, humble beginnings. But regardless, maybe it's a good thing that they're not actually hyping as much as they did in the past. Because, to be fair, apart from Legion, all of the big hypey expansions turned out to be disappointments.
They don't. I don't think people associate the hype moments with actual the game being good anymore. So maybe that's why. And I mean, there's probably different ways we can approach this. From a person that enjoys stories and storytelling in general, I like these style of cinematics because first of all, they're obviously very easier on the budget, and that opens them up to tell more of the story. To probably have some proper voice acting. I like the showcasing of. I don't know what this is called. You probably know better. Painted art, whatever the style is. Awesome depicted moments.
We're definitely going to like. Just a second.
Oh, we have audio.
Yeah, on this one we have audio.
Yeah, now. Oh, we got audio.
Yeah, on this one we should have audio. Hold on.
Yeah, we're good for now.
Okay, we should be good here.
Yeah, we're good.
We should be good here. Shut up, man.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we should have audio here. And
Read the lips.
all right. We should be good. We should be good everywhere. All right. So, we good?
Yeah, we have.
I have audio on my side.
Yeah, I have audio here too. Yeah, for sure.
All right, Mok, do you have anything else to say, motherfucker? All right. So what we're talking about, the cinematic. So yeah, we're gonna do a sort of like, I won't call it a cinematic analysis. I would rather say, hey man, this is cool. This is
retrospective.
Maybe yeah, review sort of just picking our brains regarding
painting a bigger picture based on the cinematic that we've received.
Yeah. All with the purpose of establishing, okay, is this hype enough? Is this like gonna get us into it more and more? I have to admit, I am not a big World of Warcraft lore fan for the last 5 years or so.
Yeah,
I want to be.
You and me both.
Right? So we used to love it, and we want to love it again, and hopefully, maybe we can start loving again in the world within. But lore aside, I think, and we talked about this many times, it's important that the expansion gives you the correct vibe, context, and setting, right? As much as you don't care about story and characters or whatever, it's really important that your character, wherever you play, the place feels right, the atmosphere is right, the music is right, the colors are right. So that also is like directly tied in with everything that is happening within the story. Okay, so it affects you even if you don't care. This is why it's really important to see, okay, how are we looking at this quote unquote hypiness regarding the expansion? Because I feel it's not there. It's not, well, it is, but not as
no, it's growing.
Powerful.
I think people like to talk in absolutes, and they want to say it. Oh, it's dead or it's back, right? These are the only versions that WoW can be. And when we come from the downfall, which is rock bottom, Shadowlands, the 9.1, 9.15 course, is that when we got it? 9.15. That was probably the absolute lowest WoW has ever gotten. Ever since then, WoW has been getting back. Now, people are waiting for different levels of back, and I think if we start to debate,
back.
we're gonna be a while. But it's good to point out every now and again whenever things seem to be on the right track. And before we go into this cinematic, obviously, just a short bit of context that you probably already know. A lot of us probably agree on the same vibe. Shadowlands Dragonfly was a little bit soft, was a little bit mushy, was a little bit safe. It didn't feel epic. It didn't feel like the WoW that we love. There were a lot of reasons for that. We're not gonna go into that, but that's where we're coming from getting into this cinematic. And you can even talk about the Anduin Thrall fully rendered cinematic where
Yeah.
it's still a little bit there, still a little bit Anduin being all depressed. Like, okay, I get it, man, but we're supposed to be engaged in a story of heroes that are supposed to do bigger than life type, acts in the world, right?
That cinematic really got people hyped up, even with that. It
Yeah.
was, for me, I told you so, like, when I still maintain my point, I was expecting something a bit more meaty from
Yeah.
that cinematic. It was very emotional, I get it. It was...
It's the good kind of emotion, but it was not the right cinematic for it. I think they
Yeah.
could have packed that emotion into a side cinematic, something
think-
like maybe like this one.
Well, I think the money shot on that one was the sword.
Clearly.
Because everybody lost their mind. Clearly teasing that we're going to have something to do with that big sword in xal'atath, so who knows?
Yeah, we don't. We still don't know.
We don't know anything about it. So what sword, right? But regardless, it was a different impact when it got released as opposed to Dragonflight.
No, that's the right word. It had an impact. It was not the Varian yelling for Azeroth type impact. It was not Gromash yelling "We'll never be slaves" type impact. But it was an impact that Dragonflight did not have. You could probably see Shadowlands had when Sylvanas broke the helm and tore open the veil. That
That's what I'm
was an
saying.
impact.
So if you think about it, all these expansions that had really big impact moments in their money shots turned out to be...
Well, Legion wasn't really. I guess Mob didn't have that. Cataclysm maybe had. You could say that Deathwing had when he landed on Stormwind.
That one, I mean, for me, Cataclysm was a dope ass expansion.
Yeah. So there's pros and cons.
Now, you think about it. Okay, so you think about like, BFA. That was like, man, oh my god, the Sylvanas for the Horde moment.
for
Everybody knows that. Like after you saw that, you were expecting some. This is gonna be the best expansion ever.
PvP expansion.
Then we got fucked. Shadowlands, like when she took that helmet, because you remember that moment when she took the helmet, you thought she's gonna put it on.
Yeah, everybody.
They knew what.
They knew we knew. They knew we knew, so that's why they did it.
Yeah. So, but she broke it off, and that felt even more. It's like, what the fuck did she do?
Yeah,
what does that mean?
You are right. However, there are a lot of expansions, most of them in the last couple of years, where the big impact didn't really pay off in the actual expansion.
They helped to sell.
Yeah, but we didn't need an impact. We need the impact. We also need an actual good game. Now, we believe that The War Within is an actual good game. We believe Dragonfly was a good game, but it didn't have that impact, right? So that's probably why, I don't know, maybe Dragonfly didn't sell as much. That's why it didn't bring...
Interesting enough, Dragonflight sold really poorly, but it did have like the best retention in a lot of years.
That's because the game was good. That's what we mean, right?
Technically, the game was good. So again, we always talked about this. The core audience still played it because you had a reason to follow on and follow through. But it didn't pull in people to come back. I'm not talking about new players. I'm talking about players who quit in Shadowlands but did not come back in Dragonflight.
We have those in our community. We know who we're talking about.
Yeah.
So that's why it's important that, we still have the big moments, the big impact moments, whether they're the heroic versions of the, oh my god, that's the actual sword. Those types of moments, sure. And even in the cinematic that we're going to be talking about in a second.
A couple of seconds.
But we also need, the actual game to be good, the impacts to be delivered upon, and the story to be grandiose and epic with each patch coming up.
And the pacing of the story also has to be good. But I think we're missing one key element here. Because, we're talking about, okay, this expansion with the Threads of Destiny, is it hypey enough? Does it get people pumped up? We don't know what they're going to show at Gamescom.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to be there to see it. So
2.5 weeks?
Yeah, so if it's going to be something related to the release, which I'm pretty sure it will be, because Gamescom happens on the release of the expansion.
Yeah.
So if it's, I don't know what could it be, but 95% I'm sure there's going to be something in regards to some missing piece of the puzzle that we didn't get in any of these.
I'm so excited because I cannot imagine for the life of me what they could say just as the expansion is launching. What else could they announce? Because whatever they need to announce to bring people in, it kind of has to be that's the last day. That's the last time. Otherwise, if you miss the launch, you miss a lot of the the hype, the moment, the wave thing.
Plus, it's also the 20th anniversary of World of Warcraft, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, they're celebrating that. It's in November, but it's there's no
BlizzCon, so it has to be.
Yeah, so that could also mean something. I think that celebration. Just a little bit off topic here. Maybe you can we'll talk about this in later today in the show. I think the 20th celebration is going to be another event similar to WoW Remix and Plunderstorm.
Yeah, that's I mean, they've set the grounds for
back.
that already.
Yeah, so
And it
they
would
have
probably
that.
be just in the lull of season one. The raid would probably be like a month or two old already, so that's when people usually start to trail off.
Yes, sir.
So
Pretty
that's-
good timing.
yeah,
I must
yeah,
say.
it's,
But we will come back to this. Just back to the topic here. Gamescom could still hold some sort of either a cinematic or I don't think there's going to be anything gameplay related, but something to like get the marketing juices going. And I'm pretty sure it wouldn't be another, Lords of War, Harbingers of whatever.
No.
If it's going to be something regarding the launch, and I know I'm hoping here something that we missed, something that maybe puts a little bit of puts another piece of the puzzle. Who knows? Maybe it's something directly in regards to the big sword in xal'atath.
For sure. Well, I mean, we can probably take a very educated guess and say that for the next couple of weeks, every week, at least two more, we're gonna have one of these new art style cinematics, because we always had more than one. Like Dragonfly had 3 legacy episodes, right? If I recall.
Yeah. And then
So this is
they're
Threads
always
of Fate. We're probably gonna have one next week, maybe.
yeah, they're kind of like launching these up until the release.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have I don't know how many we.
I mean, they don't have to. We don't know if they will, but it's a very good chance that they will.
Yeah. Okay. So shall we
Let's go.
talk about what we saw? Okay. So let's get this ready here so we don't. Okay, it's gonna be interesting with the audio once again. Let's see. Right. So by the way, we're not like this is not the best way to look at it. If you're looking at this for the first time, maybe watch it first, and because this is not a good way to watch a cinematic, right? Because
Yeah.
we're gonna stop and comment a lot about it. Okay, just a disclaimer. So let's see. All right, so let's analyze this.
The first frame. We've never had a WoW cinematic start this way. I mean,
Well,
it's,
I'm not. I was just joking, man. Let's move on.
we can unpack this. Man. Like I can say a
I
whole
know.
bunch of shit
It's
about
just
this.
a fucking spider. Relax.
Are you trapped in the spider's trap, man? Are we like,
destiny, known only by true sacrifice. In our kingdom of Ashkahet, no one understood this sacrifice more than Queen Neferes.
Right. So we'll stop it here because I love this shot. And the fact is, did we have any previous like rich lore regarding the? I want to call them the Nerubians. Are they the Nerubians?
They're-
I know we had Wrath of the Lich King with Anubarak stuff, and there was some lore there, but we've never like this. Looks like they're like empire, and I feel this is a very neat way to introduce or reintroduce. I won't call it faction, but let's say another race.
No, this is really good. Obviously, this is not the full introduction. It's just the start of the introduction. And I was going to say eventually throughout the cinematic that out of all of the races and factions that they keep adding to the game that we're supposed to be caring about, like the Nightborn, for instance, and stuff like that, that a faction that always existed, we just didn't happen to ever hear about them. This is a good way of introducing them. First of all, like the overarching shot of the entire army and the entire kingdoms, like they exist now, but why haven't we seen them so far? And the cinematic will eventually tell you why.
All right.
My mother.
How does she sleep with so many eyes? Sorry.
I saw
Okay, this.
when the Black
So,
Vampire
this shit, when I saw this, I'm like, yes, this is what I want to see from the Void. This is some badass looking, technically
menacing,
motherfucker right here, man.
Very heavy, very ominous.
This is what I want to see. This is this type of vibe. This looks menacing. This looks scary. And it's also very mysterious because it doesn't say much. It just has one eye looking at you. And the whole presence of it is so imposing. It's like, okay, he's clearly not powerful. We're gonna see in the further.
He's a lieutenant. I mean, maybe he is. I mean, this is one of those.
He's not as powerful.
Because that's probably well. As far as we know, watching this cinematic, this is one of the. I forgot what their names are. They're lieutenants of the old gods. That they're bosses like in Grim Batol, stuff like that. So we know they're pretty badass. But this probably paints how badass the queen is and how big her power is. But what's really cool, and I wanted to mention this, is that this is like a fully dressed dude. Like we don't have them with like cloaks and like super slick,
What gives it its presence, its silhouette.
It paints the Void into like a more not necessarily classy picture, but it's
No, but
something
it
that
gives the appropriate intelligence they need
Yes,
to have, because
exactly.
up until this point we only saw them as big tentacly
monsters.
right?
Mindless
And
beasts, yeah.
if you read H.P. Lovecraft, which is the whole like Void and All Gods being based on, you understand like how deep their mind goes and how manipulative they is. When you see these creatures, you see N'Zoth in BFA, you don't necessarily get the vibe that he's very cunning and
He's just an
manipulative.
octopus,
It looks
just like a squid.
exactly. You don't get, but this dude, right, has all of the proper elements to it to like give you.
It's more humanized, right? You see
Yeah.
more human elements, as in actual clothes that a human would wear.
Yeah, Flame sees his flaws in this guy.
Tentacles on the face.
Look at that.
Stand at
It's so big.
My mother refused them.
This is cool. That's
This is what I was saying. He's not that powerful because I forgot her name. The mother.
Yeah, I forgot her name
Let's call it Marcella. So Marcella just throws her little purpley webs on him, and you know what's gonna happen next.
Yeah,
Carry
but the cool part, no, it's pause at a shot with her face, because it's really cool. I don't think I've ever seen this in a cinematic before. So this is like, oh my god, you're betraying us, I can't believe it. Here, she has a very somber look on her face. She's looking down. She feels like, I know this is gonna fuck us up.
She has the sadness in her.
Yeah, because she knows what she's doing. She knows the power that she's turning down and what it could mean for her people. Yet she knows that she has to, protect her people with a little fingery thing, and she's doing it for the betterment of her nation. But I feel like she knows what's gonna come from her actions.
Yeah,
and she
and
cannot
the face
help but
portrays that for
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
This,
So,
the emotion.
and it's cool that they can do this with like a spider person thing, because
Listen, man. Listen, the spider has the advantage of having a million different eyes. Out of a million different eyes, you're gonna have at least two who can express some shit. Like people who are into like painting and drawings know like the eyes make the whole shell. Like if you manage to do the eyes correctly, that's gonna transpose emotion. So Blizzard do eyes like no one else,
It's really good.
especially a million ones.
Wither with the waning of your work.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So this is what I was saying, that he didn't appear to be that powerful, or at least he wasn't as powerful as her, because the way he was wrapped in her like web lines and just crushed by those.
That's interesting, because I got the actual opposite opinion, because the faceless void, or whatever this guy is, obviously has been coming up in lore as a powerful void entity, and the fact that the queen can just like shatter him with a flick of her finger, that just makes, oh my god, these guys are actually powerful. The Nerubians are actually strong, because we always kill them as nameless mobs and loot their corpses, right? When you want to build up a character and build up stakes and build up its power and make it feel like, because we're going against her daughter, right? In the raid, we know that, spoiler alert, the last boss of the raid is Queen Ansurek, which is her daughter. So I mean, I don't care. That's just another name. That's just another spider that I have to kill. But this paints a picture as like, oh my god, this is actually a thing.
I want to meet the father, and I want to know how did they procreate.
It's a matriarchal society.
How do they?
How do they procreate?
All right.
Marcelian just wants to know about getting laid, man, on the eggs.
Shut up. Moving along. Oh, this is the daughter. She was a kid.
Yeah.
And in that moment,
So essentially, this happened
we
20,000
felt
years ago.
destined for greatness.
Man, I used to be a kid back then.
But
Playing with the dick in the sack.
years that followed, our greatness was tarnished.
Okay, so now another like this she's old now in this
Yeah.
this one. This is like more of a present day sort of. But that other shot here, now this is where, because they can we say betrayed the void, or just stop communicating
rejected
with them?
their offer.
Yeah. It seems that it affected the people in a way that
Probably-
everybody got weakened.
Yeah, maybe they had the connection to, obviously, they're talking about starvation and, poverty in general
Yeah.
for their people. We don't know what that means.
It looks they're weakened, right?
Is it food or is it magic? What are they craving? Because we've seen poverty manifest in different ways in Warcraft. We know Blood Elves essentially lost their connection to magic, and that made them, go crazy, while the Nightborn became, withered.
Yeah,
with
man, that
with-
Legion story, man.
Yeah, that was good.
Ooh,
So,
that was
we were kind of hoping that this might be something like that, but it's probably going to be a different thing. So it's interesting that, the Void, they rejected the Void's offer. That was like 20,000 years ago. But the Black Empire died, what, more than 10,000 years ago. So there's still a large part of their history was without the interaction or even effects of the voice. So there's probably a reason as to, once again, spoiler alert, mute the stream for like 5 minutes. When you go into the expansion, and you go into Isle of Dorn, we don't know what happens to Dalaran, but we know Dalaran is kaput there, and that's because of the Nerubians. Now, why are they coming to the surface? What drove them there? Is it a search for something to alleviate their poverty, to alleviate their hunger or whatever? Maybe they search for magic, maybe they search for something else, right? So we're probably going to find out exactly why.
In the cinematic.
That followed.
Why?
Our greatness was tarnished. Look at them out there. Red.
See this again, look at their eyes. Look at the creature's eyes. See, when you do eyes correctly, you can transpose the exact emotion. You can see those are scared, sad, helpless, and shit. It's like little scared puppies, but they're like the hideous creatures. But because of how they work the eyes, again, like if you are into any form of art, always look at how the eyes are.
Yeah, for sure.
Because then you can like understand how good Blizzard artists are at doing this. These are hideous creatures,
spiders.
essentially, right? Look at them. But because they did the eye so well, you have like you want to pet us, like come here, here. Hey,
It's gonna be okay. Little spider here has some flies.
some flies, have some bugs.
Starving.
I am not immune to our people's suffering. I believe better days will come.
Not if you keep failing to seize the moment. What was the point of you freeing our future, only to leave us buried in the past?
You comprehend so little. There
Pause here. This is another good way to actually develop a proper cinematic with humane elements. We now see here the difference in generations. The old generations, like, you don't understand fully what it means. And if you're an adult, if you have kids, you probably can relate to, like, whenever your kids are saying like, oh, but I want to say, you don't know what you're talking about yet. So we can probably see this interaction between their generations. Obviously, this probably relates. A lot of people like to associate this cinematic with another part of Warcraft, and if you haven't seen it, we're not going to go into that yet. But it's not the case. It's just your average. You're leaving a legacy to the next generation, but they don't know yet how that legacy is constructed, how that's maintained, and we see this here. So that was really cool that they added something that is more than just fireballs and people eating other stuff.
The dynamic between the young replaces the old. In the cinematic you're referring to is not as like detailed as in here.
No, this feels more real.
Yeah,
this
exactly,
more,
exactly,
more
exactly.
relatable, not human.
We're gonna get to that comparison as well. People probably know what we're talking about, but let's carry on.
Yeah.
is much for you to learn before you can be queen.
Mother! Mother!
I love this.
Yeah, this is so cool. Just walking alone through the palace just gives the scope of how big the palace and empty it is.
See, this I found an interesting shot. For one second, I believed, or I hoped that there was some sort of like light involvement. I know it's just a torch, but my paladin geek brain felt like, man, what is it a chance to have some sort of light influence here? But it's just a torch.
You know what's maybe not. You know what's interesting is that there's another motif that's going to come with the War Within, and that's the power of the lamp. Like the Arathi are lamplighters.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of lamp style mechanics.
I did not dare think of those because I don't want to get disappointed. I know all about.
Well, I don't know if that's why. I mean,
the League of Arathor or whatever they're called. Like those are like the coolest things like ever inside this game. Like
if you're gonna make a different version of Paladin that's not just worshipping the lights, that would be the next
Scarlet Crusade type stuff. Sure, but this for me, this was like. Can we have the light also involved in this?
I actually don't remember what happens to the lamp, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be snuffed out.
Let's see what happens. Because she's looking at it. It's like... And then she...
Are you seeing this?
The light keeps going.
You have heard my voice in your dreams, great queen.
Right, so this shot right here, dude,
this good, man.
This is like, this is proper horror movie elements brought into it.
We're the void.
Monster,
finally, we have horror and void in like a combination.
What they did here, this is the technique with, the monster of the wall. It's very present in a lot of movies. If you look at the Alien series, if you look at all of the Dracula series, like the monsters that crawl up the walls or get out of the walls or from mirrors or stuff like that. It's a classical horror element to be placed in.
It has a psychological element, a psychological attack, because the wall is supposed to be a barrier that protects
Yeah.
you from something, but when something comes out of it, that destroys the concept that your brain has. Oh, this is not protecting me anymore. What I thought were walls and safety doesn't exist. So that's probably the psychological impact of this horror
Yeah,
element.
and who else to be coming out of the wall except Mrs. xal'atath
Jesus,
over
that's so
here?
creepy, man. I love it.
Yeah, this is what I was saying, man. They're building xal'atath now.
But that's what I mean, right? Now that we have actual proper pacing, this is good. This is a good villain. This is how you sell xal'atath and not freaking
Just
Razageth.
to close that whole bubble we discussed about, see, this xal'atath here is not the one we've seen in Legion being trapped in the priest artifact weapon, and this is not the xal'atath we've been working with in BFA. This is the build-up we're going to. I foretold we're going to have.
Yeah.
To have a proper villain, because up
Oh, that
until
for
this
sure,
point we did not have any build-up for it. Okay, just closing that bubble.
The Harbinger.
Yes, of the empire that was. But the old god.
Remember this guy?
Yeah. She says they're dead. We kind of speculated he's not, so that's an interesting take. Because they've kind of
way
hinted
too much. Yeah.
It's maybe it's reading too much into it, but the devs kind of didn't really want to bury the hatchet on N'Zoth. We had the quest line with Thaldraszus where we go back.
That
in
was
time.
one of the coolest things we did in Dragonflight.
Yeah, for
to
sure.
relive that and all those whispers
So
and stuff.
we go back in time where N'Zoth's like, oh, you're coming back. Oh, so it kind of paints a narrative where, N'Zoth might not be dead, but xal'atath says she's dead. So it's either she actually knows they're dead, or she's wrong about them being dead. So maybe there's something that xal'atath, maybe she's not all knowing. Maybe there's still something.
Listen, I do not think she's that powerful to be. I mean, maybe she's manipulative, but she's not as powerful as an old god. I don't think so.
That's what I thought, because a lot of people say that xal'atath might be an old god, but I never really think so, because like if they do that, then they would be retconning the build-up that we've had for xal'atath. Because if you remember
Build-up?
if you remember the dialogue that she had in BFA with N'Zoth, she struck a bargain. She was clearly speaking to a superior hierarchy being.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
That was N'Zoth. So she's clearly not at the same level, because then the dialogue would be different, as in like a sibling type dialogue, not somebody that's underneath you.
Maybe she got promoted by those the dementious, the
dementious? I don't- yeah.
that's the big the
Big Daddy, the CEO.
Yeah, the CEO. That's like Bobby Kane. All right,
The empire lies.
I cannot look at this, man. Look at this. I
is
want this in my game right now.
This is so cool.
This is what I want to fight. This is the
You know what?
danger.
What I wanted to do, but we probably have to do this in an actual produced video. I want to put like elements of the cinematics side by side with other elements of past cinematics and try to like juxtapose the coolness from a hooded face with like a glinting eye underneath it to like Tuskar's fishing in a boat in the middle of the water.
Or the little what is the little people that dig in the dirt.
the Nephilim?
The Nephilim. What the fuck was that?
Big nose.
Yeah, that's it. Fuck it. Okay, let's move on. But this is
This shot is really cool.
In ashes, and a shadow has fallen on your kingdom. But
all right, see, I don't really care for the art style they did on xal'atath here, and this is a good shot. There's one shot. Let's carry on.
the blood of the
She's
old
still looking good.
gods can make your people powerful again.
This reminds me of the Ajara Warbringer
Last
cinematic.
Oh, Ajara is definitely gonna. Well,
Yeah, I mean, she's
where is she? Where is she, Flame?
I
You
don't know.
remember?
I don't know,
She got
but-
poofed away. I think she's in cahoots with Zelda, but that's speculation.
With
It's
xal'atath?
different.
Oh, interesting. We'll see.
All you have to do is take my hand.
Your words are tempting, but the cost is too great. I would never risk my kingdom for such power.
Okay. Pause.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I wanted to pause here as well.
Not for this one, but what
What
I
happened to
wanted
the eyes?
I wanted.
What was with the eyes? She swiftly changed her eyes. It's like whoop. You said no. Whoop.
That's a good point. What I wanted to talk about was the queen herself and how she talks and how she's like not necessarily not surprised at all about xal'atath's offer and didn't hesitate whatsoever to reject her and say, what is her line? Your offer is tempting, but she's not like, oh, but no. She knew 100%. She knew exactly
because in her mind she already had something like this, seemingly with something more powerful than just
that, or
because she really doesn't know much about xal'atath, and it's just like, okay, you're from the void obviously as well, but I already dealt with some of your kind.
We've been here before, and but even if this is like a different context where her people are actually suffering now, so it's not like 20,000 years ago where everybody was doing just fine.
Yeah.
So she would have more reasons to accept her offer now. But what's cool about it, and this is such a shame, that this is how you write a proper wise character. That you portray the wisdom through the voice, through the tone, through the dialogue, through the lines. I feel like whoever wrote this actually knew how to write a proper dialogue and a proper character's personality.
Must be some meds and magic going on over there for sure. But yeah, the changing of her eyes is definitely like, okay, this is Plan B mode right now.
Yeah.
So.
Mother, who are you talking to?
Oh, ghosts, dearest. As always, they are my ready counsel.
I'm not sorry for what I said.
Always.
The thing is,
Say.
the dialogue that her daughter has, like, it's so ominous when it comes up behind her. They're alone there. You can kind of smell some ominous shit brewing beneath the surface. But what's really cool is that we, as the viewer, have the context of what it means to side with a faction for power. We know what that means as well.
In Warcraft.
Yeah, in Warcraft, of course. So the fact that the queen rejected her, like, yes.
Rejection of the gift.
But then the daughter comes and she's obviously gonna pick up the torch very soon. And then she's like, I still believe what I said. Like, fuck, these guys are doomed. Oh, this is not gonna go well.
Yeah, this is gonna be bad. I wanted to pause at this shot once again because I have a very geeky paladin mind, and I cannot not see the fact that the mother is sitting on the light side and the daughter is sitting in the darkness. I think this is a metaphor of not necessarily the void versus the light.
She's closer to the light, closer to enlightenment.
Exactly. So it's like, well, a metaphor for, okay, the daughter has slipped into the darkness, and the mother retains the last remaining flicker of light, whatever that means. Hopefully we're gonna have some light situation happening in the War Within as well.
Definitely gonna happen.
But let's carry on.
They are my ready counsel.
I'm not sorry.
See, she
for
did
what I
chill in the
said.
darkness.
Yeah.
I only want
now
our
stepping in the
people to be great once more.
Greatness is fleeting. What we must do now is endure. Your time will come, child, but only.
See this look again. Look at the eyes.
Yeah.
This is like I'm already set up, bitch. This is go time. I'm pissed. I'm angry, and I know I want every inch of power I can get my hands on.
I don't know. Yeah, this is a very good point.
It's an evil look.
Clearly. And what I wanted to point out is, and you might be able to relate to this a little bit more because you're a papa, but whenever you have the old versus the young, and you tell the young you have to be patient, we know young people don't have patience. We know, because
I don't have patience.
Yeah. So whenever my folks were like telling me, just wait until you grow up, wait until you get to our age, that kind of stuff. Like we've all heard that from our parents, right? And that's kind of what the queen is telling her daughters. Like, we need to endure. Whenever somebody's suffering, it's like you need to just hold on a little bit more. The young people don't have that patience in it. And you know the tension is building right there.
Well, the thing is, like, they're talking about a lot, like when they say we need to endure, it's mostly in terms of like our people need to endure. Because the people, their empire is suffering. So everybody's like sad, weakened, and whatever. It's different because traditionally the people in charge, the royal families, the leaders, the whatever, they don't really endure.
Maybe,
much.
but see, this is another difference in attitudes that both of these characters have, where the queen actually empathizes with her people suffering. Because when she talks, she says, I'm not oblivious to our people suffering, or whatever she did. When the daughter speaks, like, I want our people to be great, she doesn't want her people to be great, she wants greatness. That's like, it's tangent to her people being great as well. So clearly the daughter's like, I want power. The mother's like, I want, longevity or survival or stuff like that. So
No power, we want power, but not at any cost, is what I'm saying. So not necessarily big compromises.
yeah.
When you are
All right, so there's a knife.
Yeah.
The knife was
inside
used,
the mother.
yeah, and there's a daughter right at the back of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you want to address this now, the comparison? or-
Yeah, obviously a lot of people in the comments of the cinematic, and I bet a bunch of you thought about the same thing, is that, oh my god, they're redoing the Arthas story again, where Arthas kills his dad in Warcraft 3. They're like, the dad is surprised to take over the crown and to take over the Dominion. But this is sure, but that's not like a unique Arthas or Warcraft 3 thing. That happens
there's a lot of like legends and myths, and it's a lot of like Victorian history as well. This is something that is written a million times. It's a motif, okay?
Yeah, it's definitely a motif, and it's definitely a very, not exaggerated one, but it's an extreme one, because we have this in our lives, right? We eventually we take the mantle from our parents or from our previous generation somehow. We don't hopefully do it this way, but we take it in a more indirect or abstract way, where we become the head of the family eventually, right? So that's what happens here. This just happens to be very violent and unfortunate.
Well, I wouldn't call it unfortunate, because listen, however you may dislike this or think this was Arthasized, this was needed in the goddamn World of Warcraft universe.
But this is also better because I guess we can say that Ansarek is kind of manipulated by xal'atath, but we could probably say that everybody's manipulated by something, by a thought, by an ideology, by a
Void
principle.
does that to you.
Yeah,
This is the way of the...
But I feel like this is different than Arthas. Arthas took the sword, and Ner'zhul essentially entered his mind, right?
Arthas was manipulated by the jailer.
Oh my
Everything
god!
was planned by
Stop
the
it,
jailer.
Fuck it, dude.
It was the jailer grand plan.
But the reason I say this is that this feels a little bit more relatable, because it feels more like the characters are a little bit more real and not just more fantasy, despite the fact that they're actually spiders, right? It feels like the daughter really, even before xal'atath came about, the daughter really wanted her way to be done and not her mother's way. xal'atath just pushed her a little bit, but she was always going to be that way. And she took over from her mother that way. It's not like, oh my god, she got corrupted. She was such a good soul, but she got corrupted, unfortunately, and she did a shitty thing. It's not that, and I'm so tired of that, and I'm glad that they're not doing that again.
It's another positive to it, and once again, I'm underlining this. It was needed. I wanted something like this to happen in the Warcraft story for quite some time. I cannot remember any legacy cinematic style that had this amount of visceralness into it. Right, this is something that was missing. It's hard. It's brutal.
This is the emotional impact that we want in our stories.
Even,
not oh my god.
Even if they have to use the same motif again with the killing of the parent or whatever, it's done, as Flame mentioned, in a good way, and I don't find it like, okay, they had to pull the Arthas. No, this is something that will have even more implications as we go further into the expansion. So I think this is like the moment, personally, I've been waiting for a moment like this where something really terrible is happening, threatening, emotional.
I don't know how you guys felt, but I really felt sorry because I really liked the Queen, because we don't have these characters in WoW anymore.
So you didn't even know she existed up until this cinematic,
yeah,
right?
That's how you build a character, man.
3 minutes, 4 minutes of a character, and you're already attached to it.
So good storytelling. So
in 5 minutes, right?
So how you show it, and you actually feel like, because we don't have these characters in WoW anymore.
We didn't have
where's the old and wise anymore? We don't have the old and wise anymore. Like, who are we supposed to learn from? We're always we always know better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You done?
You're not the only one seeing ghosts, Mother.
How sad to have a queen.
See, this, a lot of people like meme this as well. Look at both of their faces. So you can see on the what's her name?
Ansarek.
Ansarek. Okay. So her face right now doesn't look necessarily that evil.
She's angry and sad.
Yeah, it's kind of like, but look at xal'atath. xal'atath embodies right now the madness.
The
evil.
polar opposites of
did it.
Yeah, but that's what I want to see. The Void is supposed to be about insane insanity.
Exactly.
So crazy eyes and big smiles, and
this is again another very great motif, and they tried that madness, evil madness with Farrakh, but as much as I loved him, they didn't really pull it off. They didn't like. There was like a small moment where you felt he was
And he
demented.
was such a one, like compared to these guys, he was such a one.
Oh, yeah,
and
because there was no time.
I don't
No
want to
time.
talk about Farak and Xal'atath at the end of this, like how you actually build a crazy villain, but now crazy. We use crazy very loosely,
No,
right?
but it looks. The look is very demented, evil, and satisfying. Oh, I made it, right?
So wise, and yet so ignorant.
See this face from Xal'atath here. You remember that meme with that chick that was overly obsessed girlfriend?
With the big eyes.
Yeah,
and
that's
looking into
her.
yourself.
And I think the Reddit is full of this. Because I don't know, so as much as everything was like quite on point with this, the face they did on Xal'atath on some of these shots,
It's creepy. That's what. And
but creepy in a meme way. I want creepy, like creepy.
oh, so it's not okay. I see what you mean.
Because there's that weird smile and those eyes. It just looks like overly obsessed girlfriend.
That's interesting because what I took from these shots is how she actually moves.
Oh, the movements.
Like the physicality of her appearance in the cinematic just makes it feel like she is an outerworldly being. She's not a physical manifestation. She's like void. She's shadow. She doesn't move in a natural way. You don't see the bobbiness of the body whenever you move when you take a step, right? When you talk, she just floats.
To the call of destiny.
Her name is Xal'atath. You had your chance, Mother.
And now it's her in the
Yeah,
prison thing.
very different face. It reminds us the transformation of the Night Elves into Naga by
Yeah.
Nazath, where they took a different.
Different appearance. And
I think somebody in the comments said something funny. It's interesting how associated with the void can make someone handsome.
well, it's part of the perks.
They made them more humanoid, right? You can see the Nerubians behind her. They look very
different.
humanoid. Yeah.
They look different. So the transformation has occurred because she accepted the gift of the void, and we'll have to unravel that in the raid, basically. So there's another money shot.
We will
This is so good, and wait for it.
We will conquer. And together, we will finally claim our destiny.
Long live Queen.
It's so sarcastic. Just pause this here. Okay, so her whole speech of "we're finally claim our destiny" is something that we always hear before. That's like so
All the
watered
time.
down. It's like it doesn't really matter. But there's a reason why that was there. Because obviously Ansarek is living with the delusion that it's all gonna go according to her plan, and she's gonna get and Xal'atath coming from behind is "Long live the queen." It's like clearly, oh, you're not gonna get what you think you're gonna get. Oh, you're such a. This is how you do. This is what. Well, as much as I don't particularly want to bring him back, this is what Afrasiabi probably wanted to do with Sylvanas when he said at BlizzCon, "You guys don't know what she's actually planning about," as hinting that Sylvanas is this larger-than-life intellect that's manipulating everybody. This is how you do a larger-than-life intellect that's manipulating everybody, being sarcastic, completely detaching the spotlight from yourself to put it on somebody else, in this case, Ansarek, and then just sitting in the background like, yeah, you go for your dumb, you're gonna be so good.
Yeah, well, first of all, fuck Afrasiabi. And second, looking again at Xal'atath's face in here, that way better than what was going on up until this point. But the look, dude, this is like, for me, this is like the proper 100%, I have everything in place right now, you are all fucked moment.
Yeah, exactly.
This is, because it's like, again, another motif, because again, if you guys like know about these things, this is like the Puppet Master motif here, and it's shown off beautifully.
The way the way they use the colors to blend Xal'atath into the background, like she's not actually a part of the physical realm that all of these characters inhibit, and that she's just behind. It's definitely the Puppet Master, like you said.
Yeah.
Fuck, this is the money shot.
Well, we had a bunch of money shots in the cinematic, but this one for sure like took
This
everything
is how you
away.
sell characters. This is ironically, maybe this should have been on the cover of the game.
Well, don't get me started with that.
I know, because I know how you feel about those.
It's been a while since they had a proper, game cover or whatever.
It's all digital now, anyway.
Yeah, it's all digital. Well, we still have like the collector's edition. But now we can switch back here, and after seeing all this, and after talking with everybody and all of that, are we hyped about this cinematic?
Oh yes.
are we hyped about the game because of this cinematic? That's the
well,
question. But it's okay. We enjoyed the cinematic. All right?
Yeah, for sure.
We enjoyed it. But
Did it? So there were some interesting takes on the cinematic. First of all, looking at it, I have to say my personal piece. I really liked it as somebody who got demoralized with the story that WoW has taken in the last couple of years, last couple of expansions. Dragonflight cinematic was okay, but Shadowlands was meh. But this reminded me of setting up stakes and showing that the story is bigger than what we think it is, and there's more to it, and you can see the end of the story, which is Xal'atath, but she's painted in a way where she definitely feels out of reach, where it's gonna take a while to get there. This is a villain that obviously is not gonna be the first. The first tier villain is Ansurek, right there, tiny in the middle. But the actual villain of the expansion, we already know, like you said, in the past, we don't know what the villain of the expansion is anymore.
Well, I mean, this is what they do. So you would think it's Xal'atath.
Well, I mean, that's what we have to think. That's what they're selling.
That's the build-up. But how can you? This is like almost so. Up until this point, if they carry on building her up like this, it will almost feel like we're fighting something as powerful as
we're fighting Xal'atath, but not directly.
But no, not now. I'm talking about the end of the expansion. So at the end of the expansion, do you think Xal'atath, if we fight her at the end of the expansion, let's put this theory on, right? We fight her at the end of the expansion.
Okay.
Do we kill her? What happens to Midnight? Does Dimensions
Okay,
come
so that's the thing, because that question is very loaded, and it builds the premise that she died, or we fight her at the end of the expansion. I don't think so. I think Midnight is revolved around her, and most likely the only other character that we know is Dimensius, or whatever higher void being that she serves.
Oh my god, how many higher beings do we have?
Although
I think Dimensions is the final boss. The
yeah,
CEO. That's where the train stops.
I don't know. Well, that's what I don't know if she answers.
Come on, man.
I don't know if she answers to like the CFO or whatever. Right? That's like one level beneath. But what I mean is that Midnight has to be centered around. Like, she's definitely the coolest void character that we have. They're not gonna off the coolest void character that we have before the void expansion.
I really like N'Zoth Whispers, man. Speaking about cool characters from the Void.
Well, Midnight is going to be like a full Void expansion. We're not just going to have Xal'atath there. And I don't know if she's going to be the last. Well, that's the thing, because it depends on how they want.
You remember Yogg-Saron, or you did in Wrath and in Cataclysm?
In Wrath. We killed Yogg-Saron in Wrath.
Yeah, but the whole shtick. I mean, dude, Void has a lot of cool characters. I don't know if she's.
No, but that's what we have now. What we have now to engage
because
with.
It's the.
We don't have all. Well, theoretically, we don't have all.
We dealt with the Void in BFA, sort of. That was the last remaining stand of the Void N'Zoth, okay? And now
that's she's going behind N'Zoth's back to answer to the big boss, like, hey, dude, listen, he didn't let me do the project, but
But yeah, what was that bargain they had? Do you imagine?
Between who?
Between Xal'atath and N'Zoth. Because they had a deal.
If I recall, N'Zoth freed her so that she gives him the dagger. Or frees up the dagger, because the dagger is a conduit to manifest N'Zoth into our world, probably. I think that's what it was. But either way, what I meant to say is that this is a story set in 3 expansions. So even though we see Xal'atath as the big baddie, usually these types of stories are contained within their respective expansions, right? But now we know that's not the case. This is a 3 expansion story. So I don't think we're going to fight Xal'atath at the end of the War Within. And I don't know if Dimensions is at the end of Midnight, because we still have the Last Titan. Well, are we going to fight Titans in the last expansion? Is it just Titans, or is it going to be a duality fight between the Void and the Order of the Galaxy, where we fight either Titans or the Void?
I think Midnight is going to be Light versus Void, and I think the Last Titan will be like, Order, Void, and Light, everything. Like
that would be, because they could do it in any number of ways, and since we don't know, we cannot really say when we're going to fight Xal'atath.
I believe Metzen did say that this is Last Titan and the whole World Soul Saga. This is like the last big chapter of what we have.
Yeah, it has to close. It has to close out the Titans, the Void, Iridikron. Like still don't have.
He said basically that everything that we've did in this game, lore-wise, has been building up to this moment, to this conclusion.
Yeah, that's the end with the Void and the Light and the Order.
This because these are primarily There's also the Fel, because we have the Legion, but
we did that. Sargeras is whatever, right? The demons are not dead. The Burning Legion is not fully destroyed, because we cannot really kill. We didn't kill all of the demons, because you have to kill them on in the Twisting Nether, or We could
Yeah,
kill them with
but
some...
you don't. Yeah, so when you kill a demon, it doesn't really die in our world. It just goes to the.
Yeah, but if you
Twisting
killed it in the Twisting Nether, I think it dies there. And if I recall, there was one way that if we killed them, they stay dead forever. I forgot what. They've retconned so much that I just stopped caring about the continuation of the story. So either way, so because this is a 3 expansion type story, our normal ways of predicting how it will end will change. So I'm not gonna sell it off 100% and say exactly, you know, xal'atath is gonna be the end. But this is how you build a proper villain. Like, they could have done this with the legacy with Razgat, right? Because obviously what this does is builds up Ansurek as a you know, unlikable character that we really want to defeat. And if once you play the expansion, and you will see once you get into well, I don't know about the story of the quest because I've skipped those, but I've played City of Threads, the dungeon, and we've went into Arakara, but mostly City of Threads. There's a lot of lore in the actual dungeon that tells about Ansurek and the rebellion and the spiders that are against it. Because obviously there's going to be 2 factions. Because we know the queen was good, her daughter is not. So obviously there's two versions of Nerubians.
But the question remains: are we hyped for the War Within? Are the people playing right now the pre-patch? Are they hyped for the War Within?
I don't know if they are, but
Truly, I believe this was a cool cinematic, and it kind of like really hit something that was missing, at least from Dragonflight moving forward in World of Warcraft. I don't think it's enough though. There's a lot of things technically that really put some breaks into our whole like speed towards the hype moment. And I really like going to the pulse of everything that's happening, you know, with, again, comments, forum posts, Reddits, and all of that. It doesn't feel that people are excited just yet. Now, once again, this is a very small majority. I have to say, we cannot speak for like the big WoW crowd out there. Sure, the cinematic has done things to like hype up everything. I am expecting though something to happen at Gamescom this year to actually like pump it up into those places. Now, technically, we cannot be that hyped because we know how much shit they still have to fix with the dungeons. I don't even know what's happening in the raid because that testing has been stopped. With the class tuning, you played Delves. You can like share a little bit how that went. Sure, the open world and you know the quest lines and everything that is happening over there, that's pretty on par. That always is, but that kind of gets. It tends to get consumed really fast, generally. So when that gets consumed really fast, you get into the season of WoW, and if the first season of WoW, the War Within, is not balanced properly, doesn't have, you know, the proper tuning for the classes, it didn't fix the damage profiles of some of these dungeons, the raid is not properly tuned as well, bugs for multiple places, this will hinder any drop of hype that could be. Because again, guys, I remember Legion playing in, I think, the last cycle of beta, and dude, everything was, apart from some abilities that are the artifact weapons that were not ever introduced back, that felt pretty good. I'm not gonna compare BFA beta because that was a shit show, but once again, when you played those expansions in quote unquote testing phases, it felt a little bit better, and you had the confidence that on launch things are going to go pretty smoothly. Judging by the experience with the pre-patch, I hope they get their shit together, and hopefully we're gonna get you know, the confidence that this expansion will basically add what Dragonflight was missing. Because if you think about it, it's not shaking up what Dragonflight was. It's actually adding on top of it, systems-wise, technicalities. And they're adding this atmosphere, context, and story in a better way. Hopefully,
I think that's probably the biggest takeaway from this cinematic when it comes to should you be hyped for WoW. I mean, obviously, it might not do it for everybody the way that, you know, it does it for us. It's not the biggest thing, because I think one of the biggest things that we can take away from the cinematic is how World of Warcraft is portrayed. Since we know from past cinematics that WoW has changed over the years. So it's not the game that most of us know, and I think we felt this the most in Dragonflight. Whenever it stopped feeling like WoW anymore, it felt, we never had those epic moments anymore. We never felt like, oh my god, we're fighting for like this cool thing. And it's starting to build up and shape up the way it is right now. And I think this cinematic definitely brings that back up when, what do we have to compare it with? The legacy videos, all of that stuff. So that's what Dragonfly felt like it was missing, and this is adding like
everything in Dragonflight. Apart from a couple of moments, everything in Dragonflight was very soft and not exciting at all. So this is very early on to talk about, right? Because we're judging Dragonflight now after the fact. We've been through all the campaigns. We've been through all of the factions. We've seen the little short stories. We've seen the long stories. It's after the fact. We don't really know what's in store for us in the War Within, apart from what's building up here.
Well, that's the thing, because we can probably compare it to how 10.0 was whenever we knew that we were going to fight the Primalists, which were like, who?
I didn't care for that.
Yeah, exactly. And
what I did get
as well, who?
Yeah, who? And the little, like, T-Rex hands, like, what the fuck was that? Now, what was cool about the 10.0 Dragonflight was the exploring the world part.
Feeling when we're coming from Shadowlands, it feels like we were claustrophobic.
Oh my god, I'm rediscovering World of Warcraft again with all of the planes and stuff. It was beautiful, right? And I don't think the War Within will necessarily. Well, it has some beautiful places. I'm not saying it doesn't have, but if we already relived the experience of exploring and getting to see different biomes and stuff in Dragonflight, when you're going to do it again in the War Within, it's not going to feel as fresh because you're not coming off of a Shadowlands, all right? So this is why I think the War Within has to really put a lot of emphasis and value on context, characters, stories, immersion, all of that.
It's like you said, it's early.
It's early to
but
call.
I do feel like this is the step in a good direction, because this is not, if we need like a total of 10 cool things to happen, this is just one. We cannot judge it by one. We need like a couple of others to be added in, and I feel like this is. I know that I don't know. A lot of people don't vibe with how they're depicting these new characters. Everybody's like all slender, all pretty, all super shiny.
Yeah.
This is a different style of fantasy, but if you really think about it, it kind of matches the Void somehow. It matches the Ethereals, it matches the Void Elves.
Yeah.
So we can have
Makes
this.
more sense.
But I feel like what was missing in Dragonflight was that feeling of Warcraft, the feeling of Warcraft that we've seen in Warlords of Draenor with big orcs, in Legion with like fiery demons, in MoP with I guess Alliance versus Horde, things like that, or even Alliance being portrayed as honorless and pristine and
but you
full of
had
valor and
like
stuff
big,
like that.
big oppressive dude like the Mogu over there.
Yeah.
And you had, threatening factions like, the insect people from there as well, plus the shot thing. So there were a lot of, because I remember in MoP when it first launched, it was kind of the same narrative as we had in Dragonflight, in the sense that this is the soft expansion, this is not Warcraft, this is kiddie stuff. But once we got, once the patches came through, you realize this was like, oh my god.
It's actually thought out, written properly.
Yeah, but it was not the case with Dragonflight, this is what I'm saying. The big difference between MoP and Dragonflight, although perceptually they kind of started the same way, it's like soft lala, but MoP got into like big, epic moments.
If you really want to go there, MoP probably had a worse start in that respect, because what we could probably take from the Dragonfly cinematic is that we have dragons. The dragons are Warcraft.
Yeah, true.
Pandas are not, are not seen as were not seen as a Warcraft thing back then. And you can look at these Nerubians, and the only really thing that one thing that I could say is that Nerubians for me were big angry bugs, were big spiders, was an Uber-Rock.
Get the spray!
Were the the Nerubians that you used in Warcraft 3 from Undead and just like shoot web stuff. This is like a bunch of humanoids with pointy ears and slender feet. But that's the thing, is the cinematic doesn't do them justice, because you still have the big menacing Nerubians. There's a lot of them.
Yeah, of course.
There's a lot of them in the game.
You have
There's a lot
to
of
play
them in
the
the
game to
dungeons.
see.
They're just not here for some reason in the cinematic, and maybe that's a shame, because they could have probably painted them there as well to kind of feel like the backbone of the Nerubian army. So that's still a thing, and I want to bet that the next two cinematic things probably is one going to be about the Earthen, and the other one's probably going to be about the Arathi, because those are the other factions that we're going to meet in the Isles of Dorne. So that's going to be very important to build up, and it doesn't get a lot more Warcrafty than human paladins. Using light to burn darkness and burn the enemy. So that's that's different than Tuskar's cooking in the icicles. So
Well,
and-
listen. Like, have the light burn the bugs is an interesting metaphor. I don't think they're going to focus on any of the factions. Well, Legacy is not sure. But what's probably going to happen, because you have to think about this from a marketing business side as well. They want to hype up people for the game to get as many as they possibly can, right? This is like very important for them because it's a financial quarter and they have to get the dough in. That's the truth about it. So I put all of my money on a brand new cinematic that
at Gamescom.
yeah, brand new cinematic, just to like have everybody pump the fuck out of their mind. And you gave me an idea. They could potentially in that cinematic show all of these races, within their little, but much more involved and stuff. And then when people will see the League of Arathor or whatever in a fully rendered cinematic, people are gonna flip the fuck out. I can guarantee you.
Remember the render cinematic that we had 2 weeks ago with that wasn't really saying anything. There was the dwarf doing the blacksmith thing. That was a cool shot, but you don't really have context for it. We had the Nerubians, which were cool shots, but you didn't have context. Now we have context with this cinematic. So that's what I want to say is that the Earthen are really cool. People and
Yes.
I was in your camp. Listen, you make fun of the dwarves because they're bejeweled, right? Because they have little bedazzled. They have little diamonds in their bodies, but Earthens are actually pretty cool and way more badass than I thought. And the humans, the Arathi, are so fucking amazing. Like
what you want to be
the
in?
Lothar chick. I
like her.
She's really cool. She's definitely
her.
going to be Anduin's anchor in the story, and the reason that's important is that's most likely going to be showed in a cinematic way. It was shown in the last cinematic, but you don't know that. That's the problem with how that cinematic launched. Is because you don't know why is she there. Why does she have only one arm? Who are all of these dudes, soldiers in the back? Why is she in the front? Like, you don't know any of that, and that was the problem with that because she didn't sell the character. You need a narrated type cinematic like this to have that explained, and I feel like that we're gonna get that.
It's that cinematic didn't really have dialogue, right? We need a
It
cinematic
had no
with-
dialogue.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. We need a cinematic with dialogue, like characters either talking about shit or talking amongst each other or whatever. And again, maybe it's hopium or copium or whatever the hell, but I can almost bet money they're gonna have some sort of big ass cinematic over there because again, you mentioned it, like nothing really has like context to it just yet.
Yeah.
Everything is all over the place and stuff. Like we need that something to like put you in your place, and this is it, guys. This is what the War Within is all about. We shall see you in the game, and then that's if they fix all of the technical problems, then everybody's gonna be happy to be back. Is wanting to have the hype real prior to the launch of the expansion. It's another thing to have hype once the expansion launched. Not everybody comes back on the day. The people that come back on the day are the existing player base. People that take vacations, off days from work just to be there. They know they're in tune with the news and everything.
Yeah.
But the people who want to come back to a new expansion, they haven't played since 10.1 or whatever. They don't come back on the launch date, all right? They come during, and there's also a bigger crowd who is waiting to see what the hell is going on. Is it good? Is it bad? We see, a lot of like topics rise up, like is WoW worth playing now? Is WoW worth coming back in the new expansion? Those usually pop up after the launch of the expansion. So if the hype isn't really that palpable right now, you can definitely bet your ass, if they do it right with Gamescom and the cinematic we're hoping for, the hype is going to be very, very real.
Yeah, for sure. I
after
mean,
the launch.
it's the ball is in their court. It's their game to mess up now. So
Well-
we hope we don't, because apart, like we talked about all of the bugs and all of the bad reception of the pre-patch and all of the reception of the PTR and the beta. That notwithstanding, like the ball is in their court. Everything else, they're fixing it. Like oddly enough, even the beta is doing better now. So it's coming along, and it's theirs to fuck up. And it's looking like it's gonna get better and better. This cinematic is the first step to get that done, because we haven't had this since BFA. Like I can honestly say, like the last type of the cinematic was probably Ajara. Was definitely Harbinger Ajara, when you're like, oh my god. Look at her. What is she
that was
becoming?
so
She's
good.
coming back in. Like that really pulls you in, and this is that type of cinematic, because I was not a fan of I'm not a fan of this style of art where everything is made so pretty with how they're doing the Nerubians, but they sold me on it, and I'm fine with accepting a lot of stuff if you sell me on it. And that's what they were missing along the lines with, even with Shadowlands, even with Dragonflight. They didn't do a good job at selling you the concept, because it was very fleeting. It felt like it was just created last moment. Then that's a lot of the players probably felt that, which is why maybe a lot of people said, you know, this isn't Warcraft anymore. This is not what I've signed up for. This is not what I grew up with, and things like that.
No. Shadowlands promised you blue nipples. You got blue nipples, baby.
Didn't know, because it promised me a Lich King, but I got nothing.
Yeah, no, you got the mastermind of it all. So, conclusion, we are decently hyped for the War Within, not gonna lie. We're kind of like putting aside everything that we see and test on the beta. It is a beta after all, you know, it's supposed to be bugged, and, you know, test the shit out of it. But if you make an abstraction from that, this expansion, as I've said, kind of like fills the gaps that Dragonflight had. Dragonflight technically was very good. I wouldn't dare say perfect, but it was very good. You have the retention numbers to speak to that. But it had a lot of gaps in terms of like characters, story, universe, immersion, context, atmosphere. The War Within seems to just put those out there in the proper way. There's still things we haven't seen, still things we haven't played, and
we haven't really. I mean, we haven't really played through the story of the game yet, because thankfully we didn't have to make content on it. So we're like, fuck it, okay, if we don't have to touch it, we're not gonna touch it. We're still gonna experience it as we go. But from what we've seen so far from the beta testing, it's looking really cool. Like, I for one was super excited about the dwarfs, and so far that I've made the dwarf in season 4 after I've seen like all of the new stuff. Like, look at this guy, dude.
beautiful.
Finally, some dwarf content. I want to feel good about and dwarfs is a very Warcrafty thing. It's a very, you know, fantasy thing. Like,
Yes.
what fantasy trope doesn't have dwarves there, right? And we needed this for a very long time, and we're getting it, and we're getting so much more. And it's more than, you know, centaurs and tuskars. I tell you that much.
This is a good thing that they chose to focus on dwarves, kind of, because in Dragonflight they focused on dragons, and they had the chance to make Slinky Winky dragons, and they did. You cannot make Slinky Winky dwarves. It ain't
No,
gonna work,
because
baby.
earthens are bigger than regular
Yes.
dwarves. And they're so masculine that even their women have beards. Hey!
Yeah, you
That
that
was
from a video.
that was yeah, we're that was hard to swallow, and people are like, oh, but Tolkien has it in there in his books. And yeah, but the way Tolkien has it is different, right? Basically, that's an asexual race more than anything, right? It's not the case here in WoW, but whatever.
Yeah.
It's way cooler than I thought, and I've played only Earthen in the beta, and it was a blast.
All right. Shall we take some questions, or
Sure. Well,
or chats or whatever
we have-
notifications?
We have had a bunch of super chats. Let me see if I can get these
We have
back
to like
them
get
up.
them all. We cannot miss anyone.
Yeah. Let me see if YouTube gives me a way to get. I've seen you guys. There you go. From 57 Chevy. Hey, it's great to see both of you again. Followed your content closely a couple of expansions ago. Every expansion after Legion had bored me to death. You think War Within equals to Legion? Wow, that's a very tough question.
high bar to achieve. I think Legion's most hypey moments wasn't necessarily about the lore, or the context played a huge role in the atmosphere, but Legion brought the artifact weapons, which were iconic, and I think
Class
that was
campaigns, order halls.
yeah. But the thing that was advertised the most was the money set, the money maker were the artifact weapons and the demon hunters.
Yeah.
So it's pretty hard to reach that status of it. I can say, like, in terms of like how good you feel playing the expansion, I think we're kind of there. I think Dragonflight was also kind
It's
of
never going to be the same in the sense that Legion kind of gave you everything that was Warcraft. It gave you all of the cool villains that you knew, because, you know, that we knew Sargeras. He was the biggest baddie. Like, some people are talking about Void Lords, but we don't really know what Void Lords are. But you got Sargeras, you got Ashbringer, you got Class Order Halls, you got all of the NPCs, you're not Tyrians, but, you know, in the story somehow, your Darian Morgraines, your Thralls, your Jaina's, your all of those guys. Everything, all of the story with Alonso's Fall and how it created this Order of the Silver Hand, everything that was Warcraft was in Legion. That's very hard to, because there's not much Warcraft left to do. So the only thing to do is, like Metzen said, put a lid on the story and just finish it and hopefully build something else after the World Soul Saga.
Yeah.
And as much as Warcraft is left, like the War Within has more Warcraft than probably all the other expansions combined since BFA, because BFA had probably Old Gods and still Azhara, which were still cool. But since we've done everything, we've been to the Emerald Dream, we've been to Nazjatar, we've been to Ny'alotha, like where else is there to go?
That was basically some pictures.
Yeah, but you've been there. They've done it. Like, they're not going to do, this is the better version
Such
of
a
Ny'alotha.
missed opportunity,
Yeah,
man.
sure, we can criticize it, but that's...
yeah, to get to the question at hand, I don't believe it will be as good as Legion, because Legion had a lot more selling points to it, and selling points in terms of like systems and revamps and stuff. But in terms of like the satisfaction you would get playing the game, I think we're gonna be close.
The thing is, saying it whether it's gonna be as good as Legion is saying any expansion is as good as Classic WoW. It's never gonna be. It's never gonna give you the same feeling because it was a different time and it was a different level of content that you were doing for the first time. You cannot do the same content for the first time a second time. That doesn't really work. So, in that respect, probably not. But hopefully, it does bring you new good stuff, new stuff to be excited about. And so far, a lot of it is.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for the super chat.
Another super chat from Deuce. Will there be a Cat-Celian/Bear-Celian this expanse?
Yes, for sure. I mean, I think in our... Did we publish that? I'm not sure.
The alts, our mains?
And alts, yeah, we published it.
Yeah,
I did say that, Druid is up there for me. Like, I'm going to, start off with some different classes and specs, but I like Feral Druid. This expansion, however, people don't like it as much, but I think the changes they made are in the right direction with more focus on bleed damage, and I always love Guardian Druid. So if I ever go into tank, it's gonna be my second option for tanking. Cat-Celian, that was a time.
That was the main in Ny'alotha, man. No,
it
Nathria.
was in Castle Nathria.
Yeah.
Good times.
Okay, from Aline. Aline
Super chat?
Canes. No, it's a question. That was it for the super chats. Question: you're going to continue to stream after season 1 starts?
What do you mean?
Yeah, we're
like streams. Yeah, this is gonna carry on.
Yeah, streaming is a part of our content.
Man, you don't even know like how much there is to talk about when the season starts, and we get to like do actual like apart from like the tier list, we're gonna do like actually discuss. What we see in logs and what's happening and how Blizzard's going to react with the meta. Oh, it's gonna be beautiful, man. Of course.
Yeah,
it's gonna be lovely.
This is the pre-expansion type content.
Yeah.
That's
this is the prelude.
Full Skip says, is it late to start WoW nowadays? You're 34 years old. Any party experience if I redo the stories? Any party experience if I redo the stories from the former expansions first?
Oh boy.
Okay, well, I don't know what any party experience, if I redo the stories from the... I don't know what that means, but here's what I can say. Obviously, it's never too late to do anything. If you find WoW cool, then you should definitely play it. WoW definitely has two main problems for new players that I would like to mention. First of all, getting into the current expansion is going to take a while. It's not very new player friendly. There's a lot of stuff going on. It's going to take a while. It's not impossible. It's not intuitive either, though. So if you're fine with taking your time to learn like how gearing works, how builds work, how raids and M+ works, if you take the time, you're gonna enjoy it. Obviously, there are a lot of people still playing the game actively. The second problem is the actual story. As opposed to, from my experience, from what I know, as opposed to Final Fantasy XIV, WoW doesn't do a really good job at getting people into the old expansions in terms of lore. They're trying their best, like with WoW Remix, to get you into the Mists of Pandaria type story, and that's what it did to me, because I didn't play MoP, and I played it from Remix, and I felt fucking amazing. It was great.
One of the best.
You can do that through timelines, like when you, Chromie timelines, when you level a character, you can pick an expansion and go through the story, so you can still experience that story, and so that's not lost, it's not gone in any way. I think the only story you cannot experience anymore is vanilla, but there's no real story there anyway, because Cataclysm kind of changed the zones, so the quest changed, but there was no real story in original WoW anyway. So yeah, you'll have to probably go a little bit out of the way to experience those stories, and that's fine. A lot of the community, like 99% of the people, probably try to rush you to play endgame. You don't have to. You can just enjoy the game, because you only get to enjoy it one time for the first time. And after that, you're only going to do endgame, because there's nothing else to do. So for anybody that's starting WoW now, Feel free to explore it to your content. Feel free to not listen to anybody. Do what's cool, play what's cool, go where it's cool, and then, you know, because you only do that once, you'll not want to do it a second time, trust me. But the first time you do it is going to be the best time also, so yeah.
If you're interested in the lore, you will not have a good time because nothing is really explained that well within the whole game of World of Warcraft and in regards to its lore. However, if you want to start the game and want to actually understand what the hell was happening, you can always watch Noble. He does a great job
100%.
on you know, gathering everything up and, you know, making all of the correct placements and passages where Blizzard fucks up within game. So I guess that could
Yeah, for the lore, definitely watch Noble if you want to, you know, put it side by side with your gameplay.
yeah.
All right, Nifty W. So are we saying that the War Within will be exciting? Yes.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. More exciting than Dragonflight, at least for us.
Looking, the whole reason why probably the main reason why we wanted to take the cinematic and make a full episode on it is because we've seen people's reaction to it, where it was a little bit mellow and a lot more negative than what personally we experienced as well. We see that this is not, you know, fully what you want, or this doesn't bring it all of the WoW juices that people will want, and that's fine. It's very hard to bring those back, so it has to be built step by step. And one of the problems that we've seen throughout Dragonflight is that people don't care for the step by step, but that is unfortunately how you have to build it back after Shadowlands. I don't think they can do it in one big boom. It has to be built steadily, and being part of the journey for the steady parts is cool in retrospect. Obviously, they can always mess it up, but so far, everything looks so amazing and it looks really cool. As much as, you know, we're not shields or anything, we
made our share of like criticism, and even on this show, you know, we criticize a lot, and I think we opened up with all of the problems that we encountered in the beta with the bugs and the tuning and all of that. So that's still there.
We have videos on it already, like in last week.
Exactly. So, but we've been through so many beta cycles and so many different expansions. Again, this feels better than any of the beta cycles we've been through, even from Dragonflight. The way they're addressing stuff and feedback and all of that. I know it's early at the launch, in my opinion, is pretty early on, and I don't think they're gonna have the time to make everything smoothen out, especially in terms of like technicalities to end game again. But that will not stop it on being much more exciting than Dragonflight was. Can almost guarantee that.
Thy Flesh Consumed says regarding to what we said that they're doing it wrong if they get so much negativity. On one hand, you are kind of right, because that is how you're perceiving the game, and if you don't perceive it positively, obviously they could do something that will make you perceive it positively.
But what?
But on the other hand, what is it? There's a trope saying that, you know, people only, in terms of like pop culture and, you know, social culture, people only remember the last 2 weeks or something that happens. So if they do consistently good things, you'll start to forget about the bad things, which is, you know, kind of what happens even on the opposite. Whenever they did a whole bunch of good things, they fucked up once, everybody just remembers the fucked up things. You just need to play the game to see it. Everybody wants to live in the perfect world where the game is perfect. Heck, we would like to. I am still not sold off on the story, but it's definitely getting me excited to explore it again. So I'm with you there. I know where you're coming from, but you'll never be able to play a good WoW game if you don't play WoW eventually. You don't have to buy it, you know. I mean, we can say this, we're obviously invested in it, but give it a shot. If you don't like it, if it's not for you, just go play something else. It's fine. You know, what do you have to lose? For a month's worth of subscription, playing the launch of the expansion is way more content than most games will give you for that amount of money, and you're always gonna have it there, right? I feel like it's good to give it a shot. It's a good WoW story. It's a good gameplay, and, you know, at the end, it's, you know, it's your opinion. This just in, 57 with another super chat. I am a few minutes behind. Just listen to your answer. That was very informative. Thanks. I've resubscribed and looking forward to your content. Oh, appreciate it, man.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Welcome to the membership, 57. And Full Skip gifting subs on Twitch. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, we have Lunarias. How do you guys feel about Sub-Rogue? Ooh, a class-related question.
Sub-Rogue is great. It's a beautiful spec, and it's more or less the same in the World Within. However, it's still bugged, and this is why I kind of like didn't really choose it as a main contender. If you enjoy Sub Rogue, I don't know if the question is performance-wise. Performance-wise, I think it's going to be fine.
Isn't it the best performing rogue spec? And Assassination is like
I'm
wrecking
not
the
sure
meters at the
because the
moment.
Assassination is getting buffs on weekly basis, so I don't know. But we cannot really make any conclusions on performance-wise because that's
I guess
still
it's
based on
feel.
tuning.
Feel is like
The
generic.
the feel is still there. It's really cool. They listen, man. The problem with Rogue in the War Within is that they really kind of messed up with the hero talents. I think they have some of the weaker hero talents overall. When you look at spec classes like DKs, paladins, I wouldn't even dare say priests or monks, even though they're trying to fix Shadowpan, but Celestial is where it's at. Again, there's a lot of classes that got really, really awesome hero talents. It felt like rogues got the short end of the stick, plus they're still buggy as fuck, and they're not looking like there's core bugs to it that just don't make it feel right to play.
I think that's the problem with context. Whenever you have this better option, it's always going to look that way, which is something that I'm a victim of, which is why I'm leaning very heavily towards mage, because I really want to have a reason to main paladin, warrior, DK, druid, or shaman for the next 6 years. But they're not giving me a reason to when mage just seems to do everything design-wise way better. That aside, if let's say if rogue would be the only class with hero talents in the game, you would be fine with it. I'm gonna give the devils its due. I've played Assassination with Death Stalker, which received the most amount of negative criticism out of all the rogue talents. After it was changed, it actually feels really good. And there are still some issues with the other ones, but I'm sure they're gonna be ironed out as well. And I want to put my money on in 1 or 2 patch, which is not a good thing, but still the hero talents are gonna be fucking killer by the end.
Listen, one of the coolest things for sub rogues, even though I don't like that it's not fully there, is the Trickster hero talent, where you can basically in AoE use your single target abilities and deal tons of damage. I think that was really cool. I kind of hated the playstyle where you would just Shuriken Storm Black Powder, Shuriken Storm Black Powder after your opener sequence, obviously. This time, you do your opener sequence and you continue on, similar to Outlaw Rogue. And I love that.
But that's cool. That's a cool thing that hero talents do, where they change your gameplay, and it's only available for
but it's fucking bugged.
Trickster or
Trickster, yeah, because you have the coup de grace, which
it's bugged on beta. See, we say that, but by the time they get to play it, it might not be bugged.
Since fucking alpha, like the Ravenhall Discord community has been putting this out, in Frontline with Fu and all. They were putting this out like every time, and nothing has changed there. So it's really like at the time we talked about this, and then we're closing off with this on Sub Rogue. So you get this really nice wheel going into a dungeon. You do your opener sequence, you start doing, and you maintain your single target priority and whatnot, and you deal a lot of AOE damage until that fucking coup de grace hits, and everything like blacks out because. It uses the death from, it used to use the death from above animation, and that animation, kind of stopped everything you were doing, would jump into the air and go there. Now what's happening is they decided to remove that, but they retained that GCD lock. So whenever you're in the swing of things and in the move and you have like everything lined up and it's time to hit one big ass eviscerate and everything splashes all around, what the fuck, my shit ain't working. Yeah, it's not a good feel. It feels like the game is like staggering you. For some reason,
yeah, for sure.
For a spec as smooth as Assassination, as a subtlety, it just doesn't feel good. This is why until they fix that.
Yeah, just stick with your boys here and be subscribed to our channel, because we updated with you, because there were a lot of classes that felt very terrible with their hero talents and they're not feeling as terrible anymore.
Yeah.
It sucks that Sub Rogue still has issues that they need to fix, and most likely applies to Assassination Outlaw as well, because Trickster's for both, but it's likely going to be
its kind of problem.
Yeah. So I've played Assassination Deathstalker after Deathstalker was shat on as the worst hero talent in the history in terms of bugs and functionality, and I enjoyed it way more because I just didn't care anymore. Like, a lot of people are probably going to engage with the game that way, where you don't really care about min-maxing and you want that fantasy of the rogue. Assassination delivered the, I'm that guy is mine, that guy is dead. That's what Deathstalker did, and I weirdly enough enjoyed it. It was a journey to bring them from the initial version to what it is now, but it happened eventually. So don't make your decision just yet. Just keep your eyes peeled for all of it. Another super chat by Deuce.
Thank you.
I really love the way this channel has been embracing the play what you like, fuck meta attitude, updated short how to play this class videos.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, man.
Well, we've been kind of advocating for this since like we started doing tier lists at some point. You know, when we kind of go into the season things, and you know, Flame does a lot of like analysis and research. That is like always concluded with, okay, this is what the top players are doing. This is how the meta is being defined. But
the problem is that people just skip a lot of parts of the our tier list videos, and they're never gonna listen to those.
Yeah, but I think there's like point was at least 3 times within a video like that is like, listen, man, you're no Mike, you're no J.B, you're no Yoda. So stop playing what those guys are playing and just play what you love. It's that easy. And when we did it, both of us, we always said this. But now since like Flame is doing the biggest majority of them, at the end of the day, it's always concluded like, hey guys, this is what the cream of the cream are doing. For us plebs, it's fine. If I want to play my sub-rogue in a key, I'm going to play my sub-rogue in a key. And hey, if I'm going to play well a sub-rogue, I might as well do a lot better than a flavor of the month homeboy. We had a couple of examples in our keys lately. When we pugged some flavor of the month boys, and they were doing less damage than the tanks. So
you mentioned LeMike. As far as I know, LeMike came on my radar whenever he was one of the only bear tank players in the sea of, what was it, prop paladins in season 2 of Dragonflight. And we had
the point.
Yeah, we had this, that was when Bear. It's been a long day. When Bear was doomed as one of the worst tanks in the game, and similar, we've had somebody in chat today saying that I hate the game because my guild keeps making me play Vengeance Demon Hunter. And we've opened up Radar.io and showcased that in the top 100, there's other tanks than Vengeance Demon Hunter. So clearly, you don't have to play it, and you're not top 100 chances, statistically
speaking. Some guilds will require that.
Yeah.
Okay, if you're part of a guild like that, they maybe want to get into top 100 or something. Sure, if you're part of that guild, expect that. But if you're, I don't know, in a casual guild who just likes to like push as much as they can and it's chilly mode, I don't think Vengeance is like, the requirements. So
just to close it off before we show Arja some love as well. Meta's not. We have video. Did we publish all of our meta videos? There's a meta sucks, and
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've already have videos that you can check about this. But essentially, meta is probably a good thing if you want to push content. It's never bad. It doesn't mean you never have to play meta or meta is bad. But understand why meta is good and when should you play it. And otherwise, just enjoy the game and not really care, because you're paying for your own subscription. Nobody's paying for you to have fun. And also, thank you, Arja, for the 5 gifted subs on Twitch. Appreciate it. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Arja.
Appreciate it, Arja. Goddamn.
Our official, unofficial community manager, also our community gifter, I would say at this point. Thank you so much, Arja, and thank you for rounding up the comments.
Yeah,
it's a beautiful thing. She's into Diablo right now.
Yeah. She sent me a.
So that's a good
Prince
space. Maybe she's gonna become a gamer after all.
Probably.
Not a WoW gamer.
Okay, is this everything? Everything bloody kid to do a guardian's job. I think, is this everything? Did we miss any questions that you guys wanted to answer? Now is the time.
I cannot see the chat, so I'm just, I trust him. He's reading everything.
I'm scrolling, but I don't have my glasses right now, and it's been a long 13, 14 hours of sitting in front of the screen, so my eyes are a little bit fucked right now.
It's all good. It's all good.
Deadneck with 6 tier 1 subs. Thank you so
Deadneck.
Thank you so much for the
He's been great. He's been great. He's been on the show for a couple of. I don't know that from the beginning, but thank you, Deadneck. Appreciate it, man.
Luna Rees is asking thoughts on Unholy Death Knight. I have some thoughts, but I'll let you talk about it.
I think it's the best spec in the game. For me, I think. So what drew me to Unholy Decay? Never played it up until Dragonflight, and what drew me into it was the uniqueness of managing your resources. Because basically, you have to manage like 3 resources, right? You have the runic power, the actual runes, and the the zips.
The boobe.
Right, so that was very intriguing to me because like, man, this is so cool. It's like I have to balance everything, this and the way every guide would explain it, you know, like Tazenak or Biceps, like, okay, make sure you don't overcap runic power, make sure you have this amount of runes, make sure you have this amount of wounds. So that was really enticing for me. And then I got to like the core gameplay of it, where you would have like some cooldowns aligned with themselves and always balancing and all of these resources while doing damage, and also fulfilling this necromantic warrior with lots of, you know, undead ghouls and pets and all of that. It just felt amazing. What I didn't like about it in Dragonflight was that it was so dependent on PI, it was ridiculous. Now in the War Within, what was cool about Unholy Decay and Dragonflight just got a little bit more streamlined. So the management is still there, but it's not as punishing. It's not going to be reliant almost at all on PI. The cooldowns are much better aligned, and it's just the most rewarding thing when you build up everything correctly, and then you start popping those wounds, and you see the gazillions and bazillions of numbers all around in big packs. I'm saying it's wonderful, man. I think. Yeah, they still have the file, which again, I like the theme of it. I hate the fact that it kills you, basically, because you cannot see shit underneath it. But that aside, no class or spec is perfect, apart from Mage. For me, Unholy Dead Knight is the perfect spec in the War Within.
It is a very good spec, and I also fell in love with Unholy as well. Percy also gifting 5 subs. I'm sorry, buddy. Somehow I see like 3 lines of chat on my little tiny laptop screen from Twitch. So I didn't skip you, buddy, but I appreciate all the support, man.
Dankeschön, Percy.
Percy's how many months now? 55 months.
Yeah, Percy's OG, dude. Percy's like from 2009.
YouTube,
there
right?
With the UG.
So 2009 when we were 8 years old.
2019, I said. But no, he's not from the YouTube days, or I don't remember him from the YouTube days. But I know when we moved to Twitch, he was there. Like, shortly.
Yeah, for sure. One
was
of
back in BFA early days. So OG Percival still holding the flag up. You gotta love the guy. He's been there almost since day one. So Dankeschön, Percival. I'm saying this in the most manly and brotherly way. Ich liebe dich.
It was very nice to say that at the end and not land on the hard C.
Sprechen Sie Deutsch?
Ich spreche keine Deutsch. Murloc asks, do you guys have sisters? Now that is a very specific.
We both have sisters.
And weird, yeah, for sure. Weird ass questions. Like, what kind of, like an answer to that question? What kind of information do you get from that answer? Like, what is?
Yeah. Well, oddly enough, we do.
Yeah.
Both of us have them. Yeah.
None of them play WoW though, so it's fair.
Yeah, true. Well, yours played WoW.
Tried to.
Listen, man. Listen, guys. Can I say this? That still should be on the channel. So remember in 2017 when we did the Battle for Azeroth Arena trailer, the Machinima, and with the voice of Sylvanas.
Oh yeah, that was my sister's voice. Yeah,
she nailed that shit, dude. If you go back and look at that and listen to how I put a lot of effects on it, obviously, but the delivery on your sister's voice. So if you want to hear Flame's sister, look at a very cringe Machinima that took a month to make. It's called Battle for Azeroth Arena trailer, and the voice of Sylvanas is being acted by Flame's sister.
Oh my god, the model viewer work on that only 5 hours. That was so cringe.
A month of work. It was
really
like
good.
A month for, I don't know, a 7-minute video, and it was...
Oh my god, what am I missing? My screen shows me 2 lines of Twitch. You need to, I don't know, we cannot show people this, but this is the amount of Twitch chat I see on my screen. I'm gonna link it to fucking Discord.
What am I looking at?
I don't know if I can.
I only see the OBS thing here. I cannot see your screen, man.
No, I'm sending you on Discord whenever you got the chance. I only see 3 lines of chats because my monitor is very tiny, but we appreciate all of the support everybody's giving us. So thank you for the hype train kicking in.
Right, so that's a small...
Yeah, it's a very, very small one.
Man, no, seriously, like next time we're going to fucking get a monitor here We're gonna link it to your laptop, and we're gonna have it in front there to see all of the chat.
you want that? Yeah, that would be
Because
good.
they're like a big ass monitor to see everything. So it
We've
will
had
not
a
be-
lot of super chats today.
But
I don't think we can address them live as they come up, but we probably want to, appreciate the super chats early
Yeah,
on. Because if you have like relevant questions, it's very hard to miss the super chats things.
yeah, for sure. But
Any Shadowlands demo log back. All right.
yeah, all right.
Okay, I think it's pretty much it.
All right, cool last episode indeed. Different. We didn't go into any
Yeah,
class
yeah,
changes today.
Glad you guys enjoyed. Like, actually, this is kind of what we wanted to do.
Yeah, exactly.
But
Like-
I mean, we didn't really have a lot of content to talk about that way, and there's a lot of other bigger channels that do lore related stuff.
Well, we're not into like the lore because we didn't really feel the lore in the last
Yeah.
years. So, but it might be an avenue we'd be willing to go back to.
We're waiting for it, and
granted
this
it's good.
cinematic and the War Within is starting to keep us interested. I don't know about you, but it's getting me interested. I'm not sold off on it yet, but it's doing a lot more than Dragonflight did, and the latter half of even Shadowlands did for its entirety of duration.
Hell yeah. But listen, you can always catch the wrap-up show on every Thursday not evening. It's 10 a.m. PDT and 7 p.m. CET. And in case you missed it, you're gonna have the full thing on our YouTube channel and clips of it on our second YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/@Marcelian&Flame. See you tomorrow. No, well, you see him tomorrow.
Yeah, we're gonna
the
keep
stream.
on the streaming love for this week.
Tomorrow
So
morning.
tomorrow's gonna be the next on the list.
All right, so that's it. Thank you everyone for joining, for chatting, for super chatting, following, subbing, gifting. It's always humbling to see all of that support. And I shall catch you next week. You will catch him tomorrow.
With more wrap up.
Now we'll wrap up tomorrow.
On to next week.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Ooh, I hate this delay on black. Oh, see this.
There's a lag of Discord.
Everybody, bye.